When I was looking at the website last night to decide what I should wear and what I should speak to today, I noticed that if you come to the Institute of Mechanical Engineers, you have two choices. You either come in business attire and a suit and tie, or you come in protective clothing. And when I stand here in front of a room full of entrepreneurs and other investors, I didn't know which to wear, to be honest with you. What I'm going to speak to today is some of the optimism that we have for this sector. We're very excited about making investments in this space. And part of the reason why is we just raised a new fund. So we have $100 million that we're trying to invest in great entrepreneurs that are trying to make a big environmental difference. So we are trying to invest, obviously, for financial returns first, but also to do something worthwhile for the environment. And the reason we're excited about that is obviously there are three big macro trends that we all focus on. You just have to open the FT or the Herald Tribune or whatever newspaper you're reading, and you'll see it's all about climate change that we have to focus on today. It's about the rising middle class in places like the developing economies like China, et cetera, and their increased consumption that they're going through. And then finally, more and more corporations are focused on doing something specifically around resource efficiency and trying to reduce the amount of resources that they're using today. So if you think about it, these are large macro trends, which I'm going to spend absolutely zero time on because I think it's out there in the market today and we can all appreciate that. But what's really exciting for us is there are a lot of entrepreneurs like those sitting in the room today that are working on technology solutions for some of these big problems. And they will grow. They will do well. Obviously, not everybody does, but a subset of this group will go on to do great things, and that's very exciting for folks like us. And there are three sectors that we've sort of defined as places that we want to spend time and money because we think there are opportunities there. The first is around green ICT. So these are very interesting software-based solutions, electronics-based solutions. They're almost a throwback to the Silicon Valley era where you saw lots of great companies started in the 90s, and these are the next generation of those, but again, focused on thinking about things like environmental benefits. The other place that we spend a lot of time looking and thinking is in advanced materials. So there's going to be a whole raft of companies started to enable things like 3D printing and the like. And so there's a big opportunity, I think, for investors to think about that space and also for entrepreneurs. And finally, there are going to be a lot of entrepreneurs just changing the way we do business today, looking at industrial technologies and turning them on their head. And I think it's quite appropriate that this event is actually held at the Institute of Advanced Mechanical Engineering, because at the end of the day, a lot of our companies actually make something, which is shocking. So over half our companies have products, and you have to come with a prop if you come to give a speech. And this is actually an energy harvester that Perpetua makes down in Southampton today that runs basically a wireless network for the underside of a train, so you can make sure the wheels don't fall off and the track is okay. And this is a product. This is a thing. This is British manufacturing. And I think that's very impressive to see such innovation still in manufacturing in the UK, which is obviously talked about in the newspapers and the like. So when we look at our deal flow, we see roughly 600 deals a year. 40% of those are in the UK, so the British entrepreneur is alive and well. And then again, if we think about how that deal flow has changed over the years, when we started this back in 2007, roughly 7% of the companies we saw had some sort of revenue, 7%. That number is up to 32% today. So that means, again, the entrepreneur has done well, the sector has done well, and people are creating value. And that's, again, exciting for us to look at because obviously we have to back companies that are through the technology chasm into commercial adoption. But the last comment I would make, and I'm trying to speak quickly because I'm trying to keep us on time, is it's not about the market need, it's not about the technology. As far as I'm concerned, it's about the people. So if you want to have a great startup, you need to have great folks running that startup, and we spend a lot of time trying to understand whether those people can get us to the next level and whether they want to build an international global company. And the best way to sort of explain what we look for is to tell it by example. So we're invested in a company called 4Energy, which is based up in Nottingham, where the CEO used to be the CEO of some Mars subsidiaries. So he had a big job. He had a big salary. I assume he had a company car, and he cashed it all in to go work with a crazy guy that was going to change how we cool data centers and base stations. And so he figured out a way to bring fresh air from the outside in to cool those rooms so it obviated the need for air conditioning. And he convinced Vodafone to buy it. And once Vodafone bought it, we gave him some money. And now he's rolling that out through Europe. Has lots of customers there, into the Middle East, into China, into India, and he's working on some great software products. Last year, the company grew by 40 to 50%. So that's pretty neat. And that's an established global business that started literally from the guy's garage. But without that dedication of the entrepreneur, folks like me wouldn't have a business. Because ultimately, it's the entrepreneur that has to build the businesses, and it's our job to help. And we try our best to do that. Last comment, because I have exactly a minute and a half left, is to think about why I do what I do, which is always worthwhile, a little bit of introspection. And I share this occasionally on one-on-one, and gosh, I hope it doesn't end up on the website. But when I was just starting and I joined ETF, I had a lot of fun, a lot of success in Silicon Valley, and I thought it would be worthwhile to maybe give a little bit back and do something a little bit different. And my 6-year-old at the time, she turned to me and she said, I think it's great that you're doing something in the environmental space. And then my 8-year-old, he turned to me and said immediately, Dad, I hope you're going to make some money, okay? And I think ultimately that's the challenge, not just for me, but the challenge for all the other entrepreneurs in the room, right? Which is, how do you figure out how you're going to solve that problem and go make some money? Because with all respect, government support is nice, but that's not going to get you there. You have to grow some really big, exciting businesses, and that's what we're supposed to help on. I'm on time.
Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you.